Hello and welcome to today's video. We are here, of course, for another week of our power rankings. That's the word I'm looking for. Of course, another week of the Overwatch League is complete, and it's another week where we sit down here and explain to you guys my power rankings for this week. So first off, I would like to move this very much slightly. There we go. First off, the power rankings for Stage 2, week number 4. And there's been a lot of changes. A lot of teams winning and losing matches has impacted our power rankings here. Of course, you guys know every week we go from 12th to 1st. So, first up on our power rankings, coming in the 12th position, the 10th overall team in the Overwatch League, 5-13, 24, 47, and 4 on maps, the Dallas Fuel. Now, the Dallas Fuel are a bit of yikes. They've been struggling since, the beginning of the Overwatch League. Honestly, that's when they started struggling. The Sodas picked it up at the beginning of stage number 2, and they just went right back down. This week, they played against the Boston Uprising in the Philadelphia Fusion, getting 4-0'd by both teams. Now, I did watch the Philadelphia Fusion and Dallas Fuel game just moments before recording this, and I want you to know that was a yikes. They got pushed back to their spawn. That's how bad that was. So, that explains a lot of it right there, but they just had so many issues. I think that trying to figure out their tank role, the internal issues with when XQC was there, a lot of those things have just impacted and not helped their chances at all. I also forgot to say that their map differential is negative 23. Alright, coming in at number 11 here on number 11 here in our power rankings, and number 12 in the Overwatch League, the 0-18 Shanghai Dragons. They are 8, 65, and 1 on maps with a negative 57 map differential. This week, they had to go up against the New York Excel. Okay. And Philadelphia Fusion, getting 4-0'd by both of those teams. And honestly, it's Shanghai. If they can beat any team in the league, it's going to be Dallas. And the time that they play is at the beginning of stage number 3, the first match. That's been the thing that's going around. A lot of people said that's going to be their first win. They're going to have some of their new players finally get here. I don't know if they're going to get here next week or they're going to get here for... Well, I don't know if they're going to be here for the beginning of the stage. I don't know if they're going to be here for week 5. Not sure. But I think they will... I think it's stage 3 that they're officially here. Because they have to be ready for Wednesday. So it's not that many days to prepare. I don't actually know. When are they playing? Yeah, they got to be ready for the 21st. Right now, it's the 17th. That doesn't really give many days for people to get to America and then get comfortable with their new living situation and then have to play in a match people have never probably played on a team with. So, I don't see the new players coming in this week, but definitely next week. Or next stage. Alright. Coming in next on our list, in 10th overall in our power rankings, and 6th overall in the league, the Houston Outlaws. They're 10-8. They're 45-34 on maps, and they have a map differential of 11. Now, you're probably thinking, why do you have the team that's 6th in the standings ranked at 10th overall? Well, let's take a look at what they played this week. This week, Houston. Where's the first match? They lost to Los Angeles Gladiators, 32, so they did have to play 5 maps, so that was a very close game for them. Then they lost to the San Francisco Shock, 3-1. Okay, I've been saying that Houston's not that good of a team. Okay, we can look at last week. They got 4 by the Valiant. And they barely beat the Mayhem. Okay, stage 2, they lost to Philadelphia. They got 4 by, or week 2, they played Philadelphia, got beat by New York. they got forward by the Boston Uprising. They beat the Spitfire barely and barely beat the Mayhem. That's their only 2 wins that they have. So they're not that good of a team. They have their issue with their Tracer player. I personally think they need a better tank. Everybody says Moonman's a good player, but he really isn't. I've seen his plays as Winston, and he gets destroyed. So, honestly, they have a lot of issues to fix. Houston and Dallas both are teams that I think, both the Texas teams that have fixed themselves. I'm not really sure what their plans are going to be for both of those teams either. Alright, coming in here, the number 9th overall in the league, and number 9th in our standings, the 6-12 San Francisco Shock. They're 29-42-3 on maps, -13 map differential. This week they took on the London Spitfire and lost 3-1, but they beat the Houston Outlaws 3-1. So for a team that it's not really sure where they're going with things, it's definitely a win to beat a team that's considered a top team in the league. Obviously, they're not on my rankings, but they are still a team that is above them for wins. So, that's the thing. And to take a map from London, honestly, is good enough, considering London's supposed to be a good team. Alright, coming in here, number 8 on our power rankings, number 11 in the league, the Florida Mayhem. They are 13-5 on... No, they're 13-5. Whoa. They are 3-15. There we go. I had the numbers, just said the wrong ones. Okay. They are 3-15. They are 20, 58, and 2, and -33 on maps. They do have to carry the momentum of their wins to stay moving in the power rankings, but they definitely have moved up from all the other weeks they were ranked in 11th. This week, they beat the Los Angeles Valiant 3-1, and then went on to lose the Gladiators 2-1. But showing from the Mayhem from the previous week, almost winning both matches last week, barely losing to Houston, and then beating Dallas the next day, coming out, beating at the time, probably the strongest Western team, and then to only lose to the Gladiators, barely, 2-1, definitely shows that they are able to move up and contend a little bit. I don't think they make a push to the playoffs in the end, because right now they're 3-15. Houston is the cutoff. They are 10-8, along with the Uprising and Gladiators, who are right behind them in the standings. So the top 8 teams have double-digit wins at this point. So the only teams that don't, the Shock has 6, Fuel has 5, Mayhem with 3, Dragons with 0. So I don't really see them making a playoff run, but they could, if they just keep winning out, they can definitely move themselves up the standings. Alright, coming in at number 7, in both the standings and in our power rankings, the Boston Uprising. They're 10-8, 42 and 35 on maps, with a differential of 7. So between the Outlaws, Uprising, and Gladiators, who are all 10-8, the map differential is really what matters right now. The Outlaws have 11, the Uprising has 7. So that's where it matters on map differential. Let's see who the Uprising played this week. They 4-0 the Dallas Fuel to start off, but as we know, Dallas Fuel is not that good of a team at the moment from what they were originally coming into the league supposed to be. And beating the Los Angeles Valiant 3-2. Again, taking down one of the top teams in the league is definitely an impressive thing, and sort of move them back up a little bit, because they had slipped down a little bit after they made a push at the end of Stage 1. They definitely fell down a little bit in Stage 2, but this week sort of moved them back up a little bit with that win over the Valiant. Of course, beating the Valiant was so much more than beating the Fuel, even though they beat both of them. All right. Coming in at number 5. Nope. Coming in at number 6 on our power rankings. And number 4 in the league standings, the Los Angeles Valiant. They're 11-7, 42, 29, and 4 on maps with a differential of 13. Now, as we went over, the Valiant had not had a good week, and that dropped them from, I believe, 3rd in our power ranking down to 6th. Some struggles this week for them. Losing 3-1 to the Mayhem, who were just starting to gain momentum. You would have thought that maybe that's where they would have stalled out with that momentum and that push that they were making, but they didn't. And losing to the Uprising, again, a team that was at the bottom, so they didn't lose to top teams. As you'll see a little bit later on, losing to top teams has lots of impact. But if you are a top team and lose to a bottom team, that's a big problem. Losing to the Mayhem, who are 11th place in the standings, even though my power rankings have them higher, they are 11th overall. And the Uprising, who are 8th in the standings. Are they 8th? I think they're 8th. No, they're 7th. But still, losing to a team that's right there at below the middle of the pack. 2 teams that are there, definitely a problem. All right, coming in at 5th overall in our power rankings and 8th in the league, the Los Angeles Gladiators. They are 10-8, 38, 36, and 1 on maps. So with a +2 map differential. This week, the Los Angeles Gladiators, as we have noted, beat the Houston Outlaws 32. So very, very close match there for them, but they were able to get that win over a team that's considered a top team. And they also beat the Florida Mayhem, so beat a team they should have beat a team that they maybe could have lost to, but definitely things moving up for them. I believe that they are in position for the Stage 2 playoffs. I think it's New York, London, and the Los Angeles Gladiators are the top 3 in that. Looking on here, it just says the standings doesn't have the stage standing, so. But going off what I remember, I believe that's what it is. So, they have definitely showed improvements over the past couple weeks, starting that win streak. Once they got, was it Fisher who they got? I believe that's his name. Once they got him from London, started playing him a little bit, definitely helped their team improve. And it's crazy how one player can really just impact a team like that, but he just can do that. It's what Korean players do in Overwatch. They're just playing on the next level, and I feel like that shows it because he just joined and just elevated their team. All right, coming in now at 4th on our power rankings and 5th in the Overwatch League standings, the 11-7 Philadelphia Fusion. Shout out to Lameme. This dude's been gassing Philadelphia since like day 1. I've been telling them that they're trash. They're going to lose, but they've actually done pretty well. Stepping up out here. 41, 36, and 1. And with a +5 map differential. So, beating the Dallas Fuel took them from being a potentially +1 map differential to a +5 map differential, which would help if they were to lose and the Outlaws would win or the Uprising or Gladiators would win. That does help them having that differential a little bit there. So, Philadelphia this week, I believe, played Shanghai. If I'm not mistaken, they did. They 4-0'd Shanghai and they 4-0'd the Fuel. Both teams that you'd expect from a top team or a contending for the playoffs team to have. Now let me just my phone is dying, so I couldn't see myself, and I'm like, can't really do this. All right, but that's the thing. So Philadelphia beat teams they should have beat, Shanghai and Dallas, and with that actually put them out differential way up because they got 8 maps, so they would have been a -2 map differential had they lost those maps, had they got 4-0 themselves. But that puts them as the top Western team. Of course, the top Western team meaning the best team that isn't all Korean. Even though London and New York are Western places. It's based on the rosters, not the locations. So the top Western team in our power rankings for this week is the Philadelphia Fusion. Alright, coming in our power rankings here, at number 3 is the second overall team in the Overwatch League, the London Spitfire. They're 13-5, 54-24 on maps and a map differential of 29. Now, taking a look here at their schedule this week, they had to play the San Francisco Shock in 3-1, and they 4-0'd the Seoul Dynasty. That was a feels bad to watch. I tweeted out on like stage 1 flashbacks. It was a feels bad to watch, but they did move up. The only reason why they're not in the power rankings in second place, I will explain in 1 second. So, coming in at number 2 in our power rankings, the number 3 team overall in the Overwatch League, the 13-5 Seoul Dynasty. They're 46-28 on maps, map differential of 18. The reason that they're in second place is they had a way harder week than the first place team in our standings and the third place team. So the two teams they had to play against, New York and London, who were the other two top teams, and the other two had easy matches. So Seoul had to prepare for New York and London, and New York could put all their focus on Seoul, so could London, because one had to play Shanghai, one had to play San Francisco. So it wasn't really hard matches for them. And any stretch of the imagination, they could all put their focus into one. And for Seoul, just such a harder schedule. That's why I put them second overall. Of course, as we know, Seoul lost to New York 32 and lost to the Spitfire 4-0. So they're going to stay second here. If they lose another match next week, they'll go down or whatever happens. But that's why I put it this week. Honestly, the top 3 teams are so hard to rank because each one excels so well in different ways, and it's really hard to actually rank those teams. But it was surprising to see Seoul actually drop both those matches. I thought they could have won one of them. They did play very close against New York, but London's just got them figured out. It's crazy. All right, coming in though at number 1 in our power rankings for the first time in like a while, I think in the stage, the team that's been number 1 in the Overwatch League for a majority of the season, the New York Excelsior. They are 16-2, and they are 58-17-2 on maps with a 41 map differential. Like, when this team is actually crazy. Their only losses are to the London Spitfire one time. I don't remember who else beat them. Was it Philadelphia beat them? I think it was Philadelphia. Or some team that you didn't expect to beat them in stage 1. Or was it week 2? Yeah. Week 3 of stage 1, they lost to Philadelphia. And then in stage 2, week 1, they lost to London. Those are only 2 losses the entire way through. New York, of course, winning against Seoul Dynasty 32, and the Shanghai Dragons 4-0. Again, that's what I said when I'm talking about Seoul. Not easier schedule to prepare, but due to that, I actually had Seoul still put in the top position leading into that, just because I didn't, like I said, I was changing the power rankings based on I changed at the end of the week. So I changed it Friday night. And I put Seoul first just because they had a very close match. I'm like, if they can beat London, they can stay first. But they obviously lost to London. I'm like, all right, let's just switch these 2 teams. So for me, it was definitely a decision to put them in first. Now, don't get me wrong, New York Excel is a great team. But I put them first in the end of the week because they had beat Seoul, so it was definitely a decision. That's going to be like a last-minute decision. Who would I put first? But I think had Seoul went 1-1 in the week, it would win more than New York going 2-0. But that's our power rankings. I haven't decided what we're doing for next week. So I just want to explain what's happening next week for the Overwatch League if you weren't entirely up on it. Basically, there's an extra day. So matches will happen from Wednesday to Saturday, as they always do. But then Sunday, they'll have the Stage 2 playoffs because people didn't really like the Stage playoffs being right after the week match. So after the week 5, day 4 matches, they just wanted, they're like, let's change it up. So they decided for Stage 2, 3, and 4 that they're going to do the Stage playoffs after. Now, I don't get why they do Stage playoffs, honestly. It's just kind of like extra matches for the lulls, but it's an interesting concept to do, but that's not what we're talking about. So I'm not entirely sure where we're headed with that. If we're going to do power rankings Saturday or Sunday. Now, I do know that we included the Stage 1 playoffs in the power rankings last stage, but I think we're just going to do power rankings based on the actual stages and not count those extra matches in there, because again, they don't count towards the standings, because if they did, New York would have 1 more loss, that'd give London 2 more wins, Houston would have another loss, so it would just start with the balance of it, because those teams would have played more matches, because New York would have played, you can see what maps they played, New York would have played 19, London would have played 20, Houston would have played 19, Houston would be 10-9, London would be 15-5, and New York would be 16-3. So it would just start with the balance if that was in there. So I don't know if we're going to include it, but either way, the power rankings will either be up Sunday morning or Monday morning. I'm leaning more towards Sunday morning just because we're not going to probably include those in there, but who knows? Who knows? So be on the lookout for that. Next week, the final Stage 2 power rankings. We have a week off, and they'll be back again. So with that, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah, power rankings.